Yo guys, how's it going? Best Rugby here, and the Autumn Internationals are just about upon us. We're going to look and preview the matches for the home nations, that is Scotland, Wales, Ireland and England. And I'm going to give you my predictions for those matches. So if you do enjoy, do subscribe. It's free to do. We're trying to hit 100 subs before the end of the year. That'll mean you won't miss any videos coming up on the channel. A lot of exciting things coming up. So do subscribe. Comment your thoughts down below, your predictions, your thoughts on my thoughts, and also like the video. But we're going to start first of all with England. And England have had a rough time recently, losing 6 consecutive matches, which goes back to February against Scotland. This autumn, they face South Africa, New Zealand, Japan and Australia. Now, some massive games there and some also a smaller game, maybe to give an opportunity for fringe players to have a go on the pitch. Breaking news from yesterday, Mike Brown is not in the squad anymore. He's been sent home. Eddie Jones has minimised his squad a lot more. Sent home also the likes of Ben Morgan. And they have issues at number 8 and they've sent Ben Morgan home. We'll talk more about that in a second. But as I said, recent form has not been great for England. They've been struggling, 6 consecutive defeats, and pressure now is on Eddie Jones. He started his campaign at England fantastically, won a Grand Slam, but now reality maybe is beginning to set in. Who's the one to watch, though, for me, for England? Well, I've got to go with Manu Tuilagi. I think, on his day, he is one of the best centres in the world. He's been so unfortunate with injuries and maybe not fitting in it and disciplinary things, but he is back to his best. That game he played against the Scarlets in the Champions Cup was exquisite. That is the Manu Tuilagi we love to see and play on the pitch. We all remember that game in 2012 against New Zealand, where he basically won the game on his own for England against the almighty New Zealand, who the year before had just won the World Cup on home soil. He's going to be key to England's success. So their fixtures, as I said, first up is South Africa. South Africa are a bit of a resurgence at the minute. Of course, they beat New Zealand in New Zealand, a fantastic result that was. And after tough few years, they seem to be back to where they were maybe over a decade ago now. But they are going to be missing a key player in Faf de Klerk. He will not be playing in that match for South Africa. And I do think England will win that one on home soil. And if the weather is not great, I think that just suits England that little bit more against South Africa. New Zealand is the tough one, and I think this will be a fantastic opportunity for England to really show where they are a year before the World Cup. Eddie Jones has come out and said that this is just sparring this autumn. It's like just trying things out, seeing what works. And there's been calls possibly about sacking Eddie Jones. I don't like that. Even though I'm not an England fan, I don't like that. Because a year out, you're putting too much pressure on the man coming in to make changes and to build something for this World Cup. This World Cup will define Eddie Jones' time at England. If it's a success, you can look back at it and say successful time. If it's not, maybe it was a mistake from the English Rugby Union. So New Zealand's going to be a really, really tough test. I can't see them winning it, to be honest. I think New Zealand are just going to have that little bit too much, but I think England will give them a good go. Against Japan, Japan is an opportunity to experiment. Eddie Jones coming up against his former side, of course. This is a chance just to experiment, try some different things and see what works. Give players who maybe haven't played much rugby a chance to play in this one. And then finally, it's Australia. Now, don't be fooled about Australia. Yes, they've had a poor year so far, losing against Argentina at home and losing all over the Rugby Championship, to be honest. But they've got some quality players. They have some really great players. Will Genia, they've got Curly Beale, who on his day can be fantastic. And they've got some great players such as Pocock and Kepu in the forwards. Against Australia, I think they're going to win, though. I do think England will get the win. I think for England, as a minimum, 3 out of 4 wins. And if you can get that 4 out of 4, that'll be incredible. But 3 out of 4, you want them to put a big statement against South Africa this Saturday. And that will then help them for the rest of the autumn. But what do you guys think about England? Let me know in the comments down below. What are your predictions for them? Who's going to be the star player? Let me know down below. Now it's on to the Welsh side. Move on to Wales. Wales this autumn play against Scotland, which seems to be an odd start to the campaign. Australia, Tonga and South Africa. Now I'm going to the Scotland match. I'll be vlogging it, so that will be out on Sunday. So that's why you guys need to subscribe. Hit that notifications bell as well, so you'll be notified when that one comes out. So for Wales, recently played some really, really good rugby. In the summer, toured Argentina, won the series 2-0 very, very comfortably, and a lot of experimental players were on that trip. In the Six Nations, finished second and currently sitting third in the world rankings. We're doing pretty well. I am a Welsh fan. I'm going to try and be non-biased to the other countries, but they're doing pretty well. We're doing okay at the minute. And this autumn is going to give us an opportunity to show where we're really at against the likes of Australia. It's been that issue in the autumn where we've struggled to beat these Southern Hemisphere sides. I think our win ratio against them is like 11%, which is just not good enough. And I think if we can put a big statement in, and I would love to win 4 out of 4. I think we are capable of doing that, but I think there's going to be some tough tests along the way. My star man, the guy who's going to stand out for us, is Gareth Davies. I love Gareth Davies, a scrum half who not only can feed the rest of the backs but can score tries himself. He's quick, he thinks on his feet, and he's off. He's quick penalty tap, off we go, and he puts us on the front foot. He's been fantastic for Scarlets this year, and since Rhys Webb obviously has of course gone over to Toulon and is not eligible, he definitely is a starter for me. So as I said, we play Scotland first of all. Then we play Australia, Tonga and South Africa. So against Scotland, I'd expect us to win. Again, a lot of players not available because it's outside of the international window. So the likes of Biggar, Liam Williams are not available. But Scotland as well are missing out on some of their players, such as Greg Laidlaw will not be available. Finn Russell, who's been incredible for Racing this season, will not be available. Against Australia, this is going to be a tough test. As I said with England, don't be fooled by Australia's form. They're a good side. It's going to be a tough one, and I'm not sure how to call it. Guys, you call it. Let me know in the comments below how Wales going to do against Australia. Tonga is always one of those games, isn't it, where it's an experimental side. It's not a high-scoring affair, but it'd be interesting to see Gatland giving some outsiders a chance. Maybe a chance for Jared Evans to play at fly half. That's a possibility. You could put him in there. Elliot Dee to start in the front row. Aaron Wainwright to start as well. People like that who wouldn't usually start. Owen Watkin maybe. Just have a go to see how they do at international level. I'd expect us to go out and beat Tonga, but with an experimental side. It's good to have these kind of games. And finally, South Africa. South Africa, I think, are going to be our toughest test. We have an awful record against South Africa. It'd be nice to try and win this one. And South Africa will be confident coming to Cardiff because they have a great record there and they are a team on the up. But I think if we get 3 out of 4 wins, I think that's got to be the aim for Wales. 2 out of 4 would be respectable, but if we are ranked 3rd in the world, we want to be beating the likes of South Africa and Australia, trying and getting close at least. So I'm going to say 3 out of 4 wins for Wales. But again, guys, let me know down in the comments, what do you think? It's now time to look at the Irish. Now it's time to look at the Irish side. Ireland, of course, I would say are the strongest home nation side at the minute, ranked 2nd in the world behind New Zealand. These are the fixtures they have this year. They play Italy in Chicago, then they host Argentina, then they host New Zealand, and finally they host the USA. So some massive games for them. Who's the player that's going to stand out? Well, in my opinion, it's going to be Conor Murray. I think he's the best scrum half in the world. His ability to pick up the tempo, to control the match, to take the game, his leadership is fantastic. He's just signed a contract extension with the Irish Rugby Board and also with Munster. Him and Johnny Sexton have a fantastic understanding, and when they're both firing, Ireland fire. Now, I think Ireland are a fantastic side. Are they competitors for next year's World Cup? Let me know in the comments down below. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for them to state their intent on next year's World Cup. Against Italy, you'd expect them to win. Again, I would expect them maybe to be a bit of a rotational side. Italy actually have left a lot of big stars out of their sides. So you'd expect Ireland to rotate a little bit, but get the victory. Argentina at home. Argentina played really well in this year's Rugby Championship, getting some big wins, beating South Africa and Australia. So there's some big players coming over to Ireland, but you'd expect the Irish to be able to beat the Argentinians. New Zealand is the big one. We know this is the big one. New Zealand are a fantastic, fantastic side. The best in the world for a reason. They've won the last 2 World Cups. For a reason, because they are the best in the world. Fantastic players, Bowden Barrett, the best fly half in the world. But they've had a few rocky games recently, losing against South Africa, of course, and 2 years ago, out in Chicago. New Zealand lost against the Irish. There is a video about Chicago as a rugby city out now on the channel. Check it out in the I button above. A very interesting watch with Robert Hammerschmidt out in the US. And finally, the USA will play against Ireland. And I think this is a bigger thing for the USA. They're playing against top tier sides regularly now, and that can only be a good thing for the USA. But we are focusing on Ireland, and I'd expect them to get at least 3 out of 4 wins, maybe even 4. But again, guys, let me know in the comments down below. Next up, we need to talk about Scotland. Scotland this autumn will play Wales, Fiji, South Africa and Argentina. Now, under Gregor Townsend, they have developed a style of rugby which is attractive to the eye. Great attacking play, fantastic players such as Finn Russell and Hugh Jones, who is coming through and making a huge impact. So let's look at the games quickly that they have in a bit more detail. Against Wales, of course, this is outside of the international break, so the likes of course, Finn Russell, Greg Laidlaw will not be available because they are England or France-based players. But then they come up against Fiji. Now, Fiji will be an opportunity to blood some young players, give players a chance to play in that match and to state a claim for their positions. Against South Africa, that's going to be a tough test. South Africa are a team on the up for sure, and they have an opportunity to pour in a statement out there. Against Australia, they've been in Australia in the past 20 months or so they will know how to beat them. They will know that they can beat them and beat them comfortably at Murrayfield. I'm not saying they will, but they can. Now, in the past 20 months, as I said, they've got some really big scalps. The Scots have managed to beat the likes of Ireland, Wales, France, Australia twice, and England in that time. So Scotland know how to win matches. Now, the standout player, in my opinion, is going to be Blair Kinghorn. Fantastic player. He has scored 4 tries in his last 5 test matches for the Scots. He's been in fantastic form for Edinburgh at fullback position. He will start fullback with no Stuart Hogg for this match. So an exciting time for Scottish rugby. How many wins can they get? I would say they'd be pretty happy to get maybe 2 out of the 4. Fiji and Argentina, you'd expect them to win. South Africa and Wales are going to be tougher opposition. But there you go, that's my preview for the Autumn Internationals. If you have enjoyed, do subscribe. It's free to do. Hit that subscribe button down below and comment your thoughts down below. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy. Peace.